What's up, guys? Chris from Review Cave here with chapter reviews for My Hero Academia chapters 297 and 298. Sorry for that weird, head motion because I have the chapters right next to me over here, down below, and I don't want to make the sound of the keyboard typing to get in the way. So, chapters 297 and 298 of the My Hero Academia manga. Oh man, goes the way that some people expected, but also not. So let's start with chapter 297, aptly named Tartarus, which if we all remember from the end of the previous chapter 296, All For One possessing Shigaraki's body was gonna launch an assault on Tartarus to free his real body. Now this chapter, while it gives us a lot of things to see, it's not too much for me to fully condense. It's honestly not that easy. It's easy for me to fully condense it. So we get some images of the gates at Tartarus, and then this guy called Segis radios in as a bunch of the drones are fighting off against all these high-end Nomus as his brother, one of the guards of Tartarus, was killed. For All For One possessing Shigaraki, I'm just going to say Shigaraki, since technically they both share the same last name, so let's go with that. So Shigaraki is so uninspired as him and his Nomu are charging in through Tartarus. We then get a page with these two guards talking about what's going on, stuff basically considering that the villains here not human, and basically because of how their quirks were being used to cause damage to society and everything. So this honestly brings up more issues in the society of My Hero Academia, with some people viewing others as less human due to not only their quirks, but also how their quirks how they have changed into people that have fully shaken and nearly destroyed the society that they all brought together. One of the guards even look, don't say stuff like that. Everything here is being recorded. So, and you never know if something like that could get leaked to the public. And as they're saying stuff they're basically not, they're just walking around like humans, but they are not humans. We get images of All For One, muscular Moonfish, surprisingly, Overhaul and All For One, as well as Kurogiri and Stain, as well as one girl that we have not seen before. So, that's interesting. But then we get the red alert saying that Shigaraki and a bunch of high-ends are approaching. And as Shigaraki is avoiding everything on a flying Nomu that he's on, he reminisces that, yes, it is impossible to break in and out of Tartarus. But he basically said... Okay, I'm going to have to read this all right off the bat. Okay, but you're the one who's... Okay, so first of all, we have an inner struggle or monologue between Shigaraki and All For One. This is stuff like giving my body back, or you said that we needed to rest, but look at what you're doing right now. And All For One saying yes, we will rest after we accomplish this goal. And I love that we're getting an inner image of Shigaraki trying to break, basically being held down by the vestige of All For One, which is honestly pretty awesome artwork. It shows just how manipulative and powerful All For One's consciousness is within the world of All For One. So, as Red Alert continues, Shigaraki lunges forth as his arm is being completely destroyed due to the stress on his body from all his quirks. He manages to see, using the search quirk that he got from Ragdoll, sees that he is on, what level was it? The 9th layer? Yeah, I think the 6th level. Yes, the 6th level. The lowest level, about 500 meters, level 6, I believe. Right below sea level. He's I can't just break in there because the sea pressure will flood everything and kill everyone, including myself. So he sets everything up for a simultaneous attack from both himself from the prison and him outside at the exact same time, shutting off all the security measures. So basically, if two attacks happen at the exact same time, in and out, it is highly possible for this to occur. And the electronic locks keeping the doors closed end up opening. And as everyone's going to check on the prisoners, Muscular appears saying, "Why don't you show me off this freaking let me get out of this hell and into paradise." Then Moonfish shows up, slices a bunch of people, and then this woman that we saw from the little collage previously in the chapter starts running and is like has no clue what's going on. But then someone is trying to open the door but can't, and she's like, like it's gonna be a pain. But it appears like she's using her quirk to open the door, and then we see Overhaul run out, no arms, and he ends up running out. And then at the end, everyone's like, even though we're out, there's no way off this island. But then All for One, walking out, is like, you will get out. Just follow me, because this impending void era will give rise to the more perfect Demon King. This will be a story of how I become the greatest demon lord of all. Ending the chapter. So, the prison break arc that people have been speculating and wanted for happened. All in one chapter. Now, I expected something like this to be maybe 2, maybe 3 chapters just to extend it a little bit due to how Shigaraki's body is right now. But I'm still happy with this because it shows that All for One is incredibly powerful. And then we have 2 All for Ones in the world right now, so oh man, this is honestly really great. I love this. But Chapter 298. Let's see. Sounds of Collapse, which is an apt name for a chapter. So we get to read Destro's building, and he was talking about how he basically kept his affairs in order, similar to Dr. Ujiko, where his real body was with the Liberation Front, and well, his clone was dealing with his personal affairs at the exact same time to help keep his cover. But then we see him in his hulked out form, his stress form, with a bunch of heroes and the Hero Commission. And it looks like the lead of the Hero Commission is out of commission. Yeah, I did not mean for that to be a pun. I really should have... Whatever. Anyway, so he basically starts saying that he does not seek liberation. He seeks true liberation. And I'm just going to read this right now because this is honestly a pretty nice quote. We seek order without order, true freedom through liberation. The seeds are already sown. Which is honestly very true. With everything that happened with the war arc, with the previous arc, with the war arc, and I honestly not sure if I should count these 2 chapters in the war arc. But basically, the war arc really damaged Hero Society almost beyond repair. So many pros died, a bunch of kids were injured, and above all else, a bunch of villains are now escaping now, due to the fact that there are, and so many civilian casualties, not to mention that. Man, I am, whatever. Anyway, sorry about that. Sorry about the little hiccup. But yeah, but after that, if things couldn't get worse with Tartarus, the most highest security prison, getting essentially broken, having all their high value criminals being broken out, which I'm curious to see what happened with Sting, because he is in Tartarus. He could have either stayed there, or he could have escaped with All for One and then just went off on his own. Because I don't think he's the kind of person that will be with All for One, because he's just pure evil. He doesn't like villains. He doesn't like heroes. He doesn't like the fake heroes either. But now, 6 hours after the attack on Tartarus, which is very good, which is honestly very good for talking about setting, we get all these different prisons at different times with the Hyans and other villains going in and breaking out more villains, which means all the people from the Liberation Front that were captured by the heroes in the war arc are basically going to be free again. So Destro, Trumpet, gets in, and even Compress and Gigantomachia are free now. So, I mean, it's not confirmed, but they're basically going to be free again. So that's just, my God. So in the same day, basically a day after all this happens, we get the prison break. And what's interesting is that below we have this nice little panel showing All for One basically starting a pilot, which is honestly really nice. And after all this, at 5:04 in the morning, let's see, what was the groundwork's laid. The sudden rash of violent escapees should hamper the authorities pursuing me. And now, would you good people be so kind as to stand guard while this body rests? So, even though he basically freed an entire army, I'm just going to say this. All for One freed all of those criminals as a distraction so that he could rest up his body. So he can rest up Shigaraki's body. He made a wide-scale prison break across the country just to buy time. My god, that is just insanity. But then Spinner speaks out, all shocked and in disbelief. We bonded over video games and stuff like that. I knew you, but you're not the person I followed. And then All for One says that tells him to have no fear, and that he has the greatest respect for Shigaraki's will. But he states almost in unison from what I can tell. This is going to be probably in unison when the anime comes out. Well, since the real All for One is right behind All for One possessed Shigaraki, says this body simply needs time to rest and be perfected. But once it is, our desires will come to fruition. So it's somewhat implied that All for One will give the reins back to Shigaraki as soon as the body is healed. But that's not to say where Shigaraki's consciousness All for One's consciousness will go. Obviously, due to what we know from One for All and now All for One, the vestiges are more or less like parts of the previous user's souls, so it's not like they're going to go away. But it's possible that All for One will stay dormant inside Shigaraki and let him take the reins, or maybe fade away into Shigaraki's subconscious and only pop out if Shigaraki needs some sort of advice or something like that, even though Shigaraki would probably, be against it. But we don't have much time to dwell on All for One, because in the last half of the chapter, we skip 2 days into the future, with Bakugo waking up in the hospital. Still a bit in pain from his injuries. His classmates from 1A are super happy to see him, saying stuff like, you can't get up now, blah, 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 you had some really bad injuries. But then he's like, where is everybody? Where's Todoroki? Where's Sensei, Senpai? Where's Deku? And then we skip over to basically, okay, so first off, Gran Torino is basically in critical condition. He's stable, and I honestly I hate saying this, I was hoping for Gran Torino to die, that way we can have more major hero deaths, and Horikoshi can continue to tug at our heartstrings. But yeah, we then cut over to Aizawa and President Mike, talking about stuff like, Midnight's death and now, but he's like, not now. How are my students? So, it is confirmed by a doctor here who has a chicken face that Rocklock managed to use his quirk to help stop the bleeding, or else they probably would have been dead. Gran Torino most likely, but Aizawa probably would have been worse off as well. We then cut to Todoroki's bedroom, where basically he is covered head to toe in bandages due to how badly burnt he was from his fight with Toya. So everyone's like, okay, now don't let it get you down. It'll be alright. One was like, it'll be okay. And then we cut to outside with a bunch of reporters trying to get answers. Everyone's dying to know what's going on. When can Endeavor make a statement? We need to know what the hell is going on. He needs to answer for himself while Endeavor is still unconscious, because he got pretty badly beaten down by Shigaraki at the end of this arc. And yeah, but then Shoto was thinking about the villain that they fought, that they basically helped saw Hawks take down in the Endeavor internship arc, or Endeavor work study arc. His shining lights beckons the dark. It precipitates our demise. Now, we all thought this was going to be related to Endeavor, but it was basically like Horikoshi writing in someone saying, hey, you're going to get that Toya reveal soon. Look forward to it. And yeah, and Todoroki literally says that he was just like Toya, incredibly consumed with his anger and hate. And hell, Toya is a step beyond him. It's not just has stronger flames than he did, but he doesn't care if he hurts himself with his own fire and whatever people he kills in the crossfire, because he wants to take down Endeavor that badly. And then Todoroki's like, Dad can't do it. I have to be the one to handle my brother Toya. Then we get Shoto's family coming in, his brother, his sister, and from the back we end up seeing in a shadowy figure, in a resemblance of someone we've seen before. It's very possible that it is in fact Shoto's mother, which I'm curious to see how her mental state is like now that she got revealed that her firstborn is still alive, but is a psychotic murderer. That would really break her down. But as the chapter is ending, in the last 2 pages, Bakugo is storming off to Deku. And he's like, no, stop. He's dead if he thinks he can die on me. And we then get a brief flashback before Bakugo starts running out of his room to head towards where Deku is. Says that, he says Todoroki and the others are conscious at least, all of them except for Midoriya. He shows no signs of waking up. And that's the end of chapter 298. My God, was this an intense chapter. Not only did we get the reveal that All For One is basically free all those prisoners just to buy time, not just to strengthen his villain forces and make himself the greatest demon king of all, but also to buy time for Shigaraki's body to heal up. And we're not entirely sure what the rest of his plan is, because from what's been going on, it seems like All For One planned to get captured, have Shigaraki grow stronger, inherit All For One in all these other quirks, and then come back and free him. It's like he had this whole thing planned from the very start. As well as the whole prison breaks across the country. But now, with everyone conscious, awake, and still in the hospital, aside from Endeavor, Deku shows no signs of waking up while All Might is by his bedside. Now, we have to wait for Eri to show up to completely heal Deku's arms with her rewind once it stores up. But here's something that some people are speculating after this chapter was revealed. Either Deku is no longer worthy of One For All due to how he almost foolishly lost it to the greatest evil, or he is currently stuck in the world of the vestiges conversing with the rest of the members of One For All, because now, aside from basic One For All, he has Black Whip, Float, and Danger Sense. He basically has he just has half of the quirks that he was supposed to inherit. He still has, I think, that guy that almost looks like Best Genius, and the two shadows in the background that we have not gotten the designs for. So he still has 3 quirks to go, but we can basically say with absolute certainty that he has unlocked half of all of One For All's quirks, which means hopefully he can at least converse with the other vestiges and move a little bit now that he has half of the quirks. So this could end up being a Coma arc. Interestingly enough, it could just be a lore-heavy arc exploring the backstories of the previous users of One For All, their time periods, and how they inherited the power. We can start from Nana and move backward. We can start from, let's say, Nana and move backwards. We can do something like that. Or we can finally get the reveal of the second and third users, us getting an idea of what their quirks will be when Deku unlocks them, and then go from there. Or we can just get the others that we know so far. Nana, the 4th user, the 5th, and the 6th user. So I would like to see those guys, and it is an interesting way of doing this. But overall, really great chapters. I love the prison break. I love the fact that Deku is showing no signs of waking up even a few days after his fight against Shigaraki. Now, it appears the world will have to know the truth of One For All and Deku and All Might, and the secret history between the battle against All For One, which could seemingly span over a century. But yeah, with all that said and done, another great chapter from My Hero Academia. Can't wait for chapter 299 because they're about to reach chapter 300. And for all we know, these next couple of chapters will be the end of this first part of My Hero Academia, and we might end up getting a real time skip to possibly them in their senior year, or maybe the next year, or whatever this ends up being. But yeah, another great chapter from My Hero Academia. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed me talking about this series, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more manga reviews in the future. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at The Official Review Cave for updates on future videos. And with all that said and done, I hope you guys have an awesome day.